Well, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back. I hope you guys are doing fantastic out there. I've got an interesting video for you today. I have this box here. This is a Coleman 500A stove that I picked up on eBay. This stove was not working. It was sold as parts. I placed a bid and I won the bid. So in this video today, I'm gonna open this bad boy up and see if I can get it running. So let's go ahead and get this unboxed here. Check that bad boy out. That is fantastic. There's a look at that stove. It's very clean. I'm just gonna have to start taking a look and seeing if I can get this bad boy going. I hear some stuff rattling around in the tank. Looks like this is a little gummed up and it might need a new gasket. And that's a different size than a normal tank. Does the pump work? It does. Pump works. It's a little dry, but it does work, so that's a good sign. Two little screws here. I'm just going to take these two screws off. Wow, looks like that pump cup is in good shape. Leather. This is a nice looking stove. It's in great shape. Wow, let me get some oil on that pump cup. It looks like a brand new pump cup. Get that bad boy lubricating up. See if I can grab a hold of that. Air stem. I'm just going to take this thing apart and see if I can get it going. So it has the large air stem and the needle's in good shape. And I got my check valve tool here, so got to find out which stem I'm going to need. So as you can see, I have the larger one here. So I'm going to thread that down inside the check valve, right down in the middle of the hole, and I'm going to just tighten that up, that little stem. Then the check valve tool goes right around that stem, down into position. And then of course from here, I'm going to put this little nut in. It'll lock everything into place. Now I noticed that when I put the check valve tool in, it didn't fall into the slots like it normally does. So I'm going to try to grab it anyway by tightening this down, and hopefully it'll grab it enough where I can get that check valve off. There we go. It didn't quite fit in there, but I was still able to get this out, so that's a good thing. I'm very happy about that. And I hear the check valve rattling, so I think it's good. I'm going to put a drop of oil in there and just let that sit for a minute while I work on the rest of this stove. Let's go into this area right here. Let's look at this valve stem packing and this kind of area, maybe generator kind of area. These stoves are mighty fun to work on. They're a blast. I love it. Okay, so there's the generator rod there. And I'm looking down inside this nut, and it appears that the packing is okay. So that's a really good sign. Hopefully you're picking that up on the camera. I can see that the needle is in good shape. And this needle threads on and off here. I'm going to drag this through this steel wool just to make sure I'm getting all the carbon buildup off of it, because the generator is really the part that does everything. As long as that needle's good, which in our case that needle is good, I'm going to thread this back in so I can use this knob to pull it through. Got to be really careful at this point not to bend this stem. Definitely don't want to bend the stem. There we go, got it nice and tight. Put a little oil on this here. Doesn't take a lot. I'm just trying to kind of use oil to clean it. Be careful around the tip where that little needle is. Don't want to damage that needle. And that's a lot better. It still needs a little bit of work there, but it's a lot better. Let's go ahead and take the rest of the generator off. These things get really gummed up. Looks like I'm going to need to disconnect this little nut here. That'll get rid of the fuel line. That'll disconnect the fuel line. Then there's another nut on top of that, which I can release, that will let this stem off. Now I'm going to check this and make sure that there's airflow through here in all directions, and we have good airflow. Now here is a look at the generator assembly. Doesn't look bad from this point of view. I'm going to take this tip off. There we go. It broke free real easy. You don't want to force anything on these things. Now from here, I want to make sure that this tip is clean. So I'm going to put a flashlight up behind it. I know you see the light shining at the camera, but you see that light through that jet? That's telling me that the jet is clear, which is good. So we'll just put the tip right in there, and I can see the needle coming through, so we know that that needle and that jet is good. Now inside the generator there should be a spring in here, and it looks like it's really carboned in there. Just gonna tap on it real gently, hoping that I can get that spring out. I don't think I'm gonna have much luck getting this spring out, to be completely honest with you, but I do have a method. Look at all that carbon that came out on that brick there. So yeah, it's definitely gummed up. We're gonna have to clean this thing pretty significantly. So I think it did move though. I think it moved. So let's try it a little more. I don't want to bang on it too hard because I don't want to damage anything, or because there are other methods I can use. But look, wow, we got lucky. Okay, that's not too bad. We got a little bit of damage here on the tip there. So I'll just take these and just kind of bend that back. Just something like that. Nothing too significant. And that's not in bad shape, actually. Had a little bit of carbon on it, but it actually came out a lot better than I thought it would. So put a little oil on this, just kind of lube that bad boy up. And then I'm going to twist it right through this steel wool in an effort to take off any debris that might be on it, any carbon buildup or anything like that that might be on this spring. This is a really important part of the stove. This is the part that converts the liquid fuel to a gas. I'm just going to go ahead and take these and cut one little piece off, and that'll get rid of that bummed up part. That way it can fit in there nice and easy from both ends. There we go, that's what we want. I only took off like one little twist, and that's all I really need. I didn't need a lot. Little carburetor cleaner works good. Make sure you watch your eyes here. See a little junk coming out of there on the table. Carburetor cleaner works pretty good on these things, but I'm pleasantly surprised with this generator. It's actually in really good shape. I've seen some that were really bad. This one's not bad at all. So it's definitely looking like a generator that's going to be salvageable. I'm kind of thinking that this stove might fire up. By the looks of it, the parts of everything's looking good. I noticed these threads were a little bit kind of messed up. Taking steel wool here, just trying to clean them up. Yeah, there we go. We're looking a lot better now. If I got to take these two down. One there. Little bolt. My objective is to get this thing working really good. And so far so good. It looks like everything on that is good. Let's see if I can take this little collar off. Boy, that's a nice heavy duty collar there. That thing is really nice. Burn or light. So that hole right there, let's not forget that. Looks like the fount's in good shape. So we got to remember the clocking of this thing. So I'm going to put a little dot of fingernail polish just right there. That signifies where this thing needs to be pointed to. And now that I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and get a big wrench so I can get a lot of leverage, and I'm going to try to take this off of the font. There we go. Take that bad boy off. Be careful not to push too hard on the fount because you can break these things or bend them. I just want to make sure that everything on this stove is good to go, because my objective is to get this bad boy going. Okay. So, looking at this, I want to see, yeah, that's what I'm seeing right there. So up. Okay, so up is to light because that little piece sticks through there, and what that does, that doesn't allow liquid fuel through until you turn this down, and that little tip goes out of the way. Okay, see that little tip there, and it goes out of the way and it comes up there. So that's working. So I don't need to do anything right here. I'm gonna go ahead and take this fount, take it in the house. I'm gonna clean it because I hear like stuff rattling in there. Okay, I got the fount clean. Quite a bit of debris came out. Now I'm gonna put on my Mickey Mouse ears here, these guys, and I'm gonna blow this fount out with air. It's probably gonna be a little bit noisy here. Okay, so I got that fount nice and dry. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in, but I'm gonna put some nail polish on these threads. Make sure that you don't get any nail polish on that air hole, otherwise you'll be creating more of a problem. And remember that little mark, that's where the little lever needs to be. So we're just gonna thread this bad boy around. We'll end up lining it up right there once we get it to the right tightness. And it doesn't have to be crazy gorilla tight or anything like that. It really don't. Something like that's pretty close. That's almost tight enough. So we'll just crank this a little bit. Line it up a little bit more. I'm going to call that good. From here, I want to take a look real quick, if possible, at these burner rings. Sometimes they come out, sometimes they don't. While I'm here, I might want to take a look just in case. I got lucky and that came loose. Let's try this one. Hopefully I'll get lucky again. Yes, thank goodness I got lucky twice. Very nice. Another reason that I use the fingernail polish on things, especially these older stoves, because sometimes you're dealing with like this Bunsen that's made out of cast iron and you got steel screws, and I don't want the screws to get seized in there. So that's one of the reasons why I use the fingernail polish. So I have the flat plate there. It looks like it has a little divot right there for preheating. That's cool. So you can put a little alcohol in that little divot. That'll help heat up the generator for you. That's cool. So you got a corrugated, you got a flat, you got a corrugated, a flat, another corrugated, and another flat. So I don't see nothing wrong with those burner rings. Everything looks good there. So let me make sure that there's plenty of air traveling through the Bunsen. Yeah, we got plenty of air coming through. No problems there. So the Bunsen is definitely free. I think what I'll do is I'll take these 2 screws out. I'll put the fingernail polish on them and then I'll put them back in. That way they won't seize up in there. So in the future, if I ever want to try to take this stove apart, I'll have a better shot at it. I'll just take these little lock washers and line them up. Put a little, paint these threads a little bit. Drop that bad boy right there. And we'll do the same thing here with this one. Just a little bit of glue on those threads. Help those bad boys not seize up, and because you got 2 different metal surfaces. I've seen so many of these older stoves, things get gummed up and locked together, 2 pieces of metal, and then they just don't break free. You got to put heat on them and penetrating oil and all that, and it's just a pain in the butt. So this will at least help that situation just a hair. So now let's flip this bad boy over, and we want to put our burner rings back. So we'll set those in like so. Kind of wish they would have had like a little area that holds them into place, but they don't. So you kind of have to place them as good as you can. Don't tighten the screws down until the burner rings are in a good position. So I'm just painting those threads, dropping the screws in. It's a pretty cool looking stove. I think the biggest problem that I've seen so far with this stove, honestly, is the fuel cap rubber is bad. That's the only thing I've ran into so far that raises a little awareness to me. And now from here, once I got the threads started, I'm just going to make sure that these burner rings are all as straight as they could be. So now we're going to take this little collar, we're going to slide that bad boy like so. And well, we got to get to right here. We got to get that bad boy in there. Just like so. Let's put this on, and we know that the orientation needs to be something like this, because that's going to go onto this little piece here. So the thing is going to sit just like so. We have these 2 screws. We're going to put some nail polish on these. It looks like these 2 screws were made for this stove for whoever was trying to work on it. And it looks like whoever worked on it did a good job, with the exception of the filler cap. That's the only problem I'm seeing. Looks like the packing's okay. So I'm going to try to drop these down. Hopefully I'll get them lined up right. Little holes in the fount. Okay. Looks like we're doing good. Don't need to be too tight. Just snug them up. Okay, so now this piece, you got a flared side and you got a flat side. So the flat side is going to go against the packing, and the flared side flares against this generator here. Let's go ahead and put this generator together on here. Let's do all this in one stab here. So let's see here. Let's get this, thread this on. This is a flared fitting here, and let's pull this off. Put this tip in. I need my fingernail polish. If you don't have any fingernail polish on the tip here, just make sure it doesn't go inside the hole. You'll get flames shooting out in that area, so make sure that you put something on there. That'll save you in the long run. Just don't let it get inside the hole there. If it does get in the hole, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Wipe the excess off here. Okay, that's fine. Now we'll just kind of start threading this on. Everything feels okay. So let's go ahead and stab that in. There we go. Tighten this nut. There we go, we got that. Let's tighten up this generator nut. This generator nut can be tightened pretty decent because it's flared. You want it kind of snug. There's not a lot of room to work right here, so I'm just doing little steps here, flipping it over. So you want that a little bit snug, then you won't have no gas or anything coming out of this flared end. So that's looking pretty good. Now this part right here, this nut where the packing is, we're going to loosen this valve and we're going to start threading this on. And you're only going to tighten this packing nut as tight as your wheel feels. This doesn't have to be super tight. You just want it tight enough to where the wheel has a little bit of tension on it, which that actually feels really good right there. Nice and snug, but not too tight. Because what that does, that smashes the packing around this shaft, and that's what keeps that thing tight. Keeps that airtight, gas tight, whatever you want to call it. There we go. That's good. Now let's find that nut. Oh my goodness, I made a mistake, didn't I? The nut fell down inside, so I got to take these two screws off. That'll be okay. We'll just take these two screws off and then we'll get that nut out of there. Okay, there we go. Now we're back to where we were. We're going to stab that fuel line in that area there, and we're going to get this flared nut. Don't have to do anything special here, just tighten this up. That'll pull that. It's a flared fitting, so make sure this is good and snug so you don't have any gas leaks there. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the check valve. We're going to take the check valve off, and it's had time to sit on that oil. Put a little carb cleaner in it. Watch your eyes. I can hear the ball dancing around, so I'm thinking that the ball is going to do its job. Making sure these threads are dry. And I will put it back on my tool as best as I can, just like I did earlier. So we'll loosen that nut and we'll just keep threading this bad boy and get it as tight as we can. Get it nice and tight on there. And that'll hopefully let us seat it. Because remember, it worked to get it out, so hopefully it'll work to get it back in. So I'm just going to run these threads backwards to get any debris or anything that might have been on these threads. I'm going to run it backwards to get anything off. And here we go with the paint again. We're going to paint a really nice liberal amount here. Some places you're kind of conservative about, other places you're liberal about. So on this part, I don't want no air coming back through the check valve, so we'll just stab this right down in the middle, turn that bad boy, get it going. I can feel it grabbing. Take your crescent wrench and just snug that bad boy up. Doesn't have to be crazy. Then from here, let's loosen this stem. We're going to loosen all this stuff. Pull that tool out, pull that stem out. And that is a wrap on the check valve. We should be good to go there. Shouldn't have any problems with the check valve now. We'll go ahead and put the air stem in. Right down in the middle like you're trying to hit a bullseye. And the pump cup has had time for that oil to seep into it, so we'll just try to put that pump cup in. Yeah, that feels good. That pump cup actually feels really good. I'm going to put a couple drops of oil, let gravity do its thing. And now I have those two small screws that hold the pump assembly together. Now let's see how this feels. Put our thumb or finger over the thing here. Turn that off. Feels good. and it's developing pressure, as you can hear. It is pushing back a little bit. That's a sign that the check valve's pushing back a little bit. But I think once I get fuel in there, it's going to be a good thing. Yeah, it stopped pushing back, so that's good. You don't want it to push back. You want it to go in and stay in when you put your thumb over that hole. Now let me let my finger go. Good. So the pump works. Air stem. We can lock the air stem. Good. I think for the most part we are ready to add fuel. Because this gasket is bad. I don't have a new one, so I'm going to have to order a new gasket for this pump cap, or for this fuel cap. I'm going to have to figure something out to get over here. What I'll probably use is a little piece of plastic just for the meantime, just for the video, just for the test. So let me go ahead and get some fuel in here. I got a coffee filter here. Just in case, because I'm going to use low octane gasoline. Okay, I've got this thing filled up. Let me put the flammables out of the way. Kind of clean up my workspace a little bit, my work area here. It's time to test this stove. And I'm looking at this fuel cap, and it is terrible. Okay, so I have a little piece of plastic off of a Walmart bag. This is not a permanent fix. I just want to make that abundantly clear. This is a temporary fix just to test the stove. Don't think that this is going to be your go-to, going to fix your stove cap. That's not, I don't recommend that. I'm just doing that just so I can try to get this thing going. Okay, so I hope you guys understand that. Now we'll get this bad boy pumped up. And the check valve's doing its job. Let's put this in the burn position. Or actually we need to put it up in the light position. Turn on this valve. Flame here. So right now we're just in the process of trying to get this thing primed. Got a little flame leaking out right here. And that's just, let's go back up to the light section there. So that just tells me I need to tighten this nut just a hair. I'm not worried about this little flame here. It's really not that big of a deal to me. That's an easy fix. I'm more worried about the performance of the flames, the generator, the tank, the Bunsen doing its job, all that. So looks like we're starting to prime. Nice and slow. I'm very happy about this stove. I think it's cool. I think it's a neat little stove. It just kind of takes you back in time seeing technology like this. So I got a lot of liquid in there. Just got to get that thing nice and hot. That'll give me nice, beautiful blue flames if I can get it heated up enough, that generator. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare for a boil test. I've got 1 liter of room temperature water in a little pot here. I'm just looking for nice blue flames. I want to get this nice and primed where it's burning good. We've got plenty of pressure, so that's good. The flames are looking nice, looking mighty nice. These are old stoves, so they might take a little bit of time to get fully primed up. And I know this is a long video, but I showed a lot in this video. So now let's drop this down to burn. Straight down, remember? Look at that. That looks fantastic. Plenty of pressure. The burner rings look fantastic. The flames look good. Flame control. It's good. I'm just waiting for it to get nice and hot. The cool thing about this Bunsen is once it's, you know, cast iron, once it gets hot, it stays hot. So once you prime these old stoves like this, they stay primed for a bit. So that thing looks like it's working pretty darn good. Just need to get that generator up till I have all blue flames. We're close because I'm wide open here. And you can see the flame separation. We have plenty of heat there, plenty of pressure. Beautiful flame control. Nice simmering ability here. 32 ounces or 1 liter of room temperature water. It's probably 70 degrees out right now. Let's get my clock ready. And let's go ahead and get this bad boy up to a boil. Start. And I think that's probably good. 520. So 5.5 for good measure. Got a nice rolling boil there, heavy rolling boil. Let's go ahead and check the simmering ability. Looks like the flame control is fantastic. Simmering ability is very nice. So if you had a pot of stew, you bring it up to a boil. Stove does a good job. It's very nice. Look at that. It definitely gets down to business. Stove has extremely good flame control. Very nice. Yeah, that's fantastic. You can't ask for much more than that. That's a nice flame. That's definitely going to do its job. Well, folks, I want to say thank you once again for joining me today on this video. I had no idea what I was going to run into with this 500 Coleman. I don't know how old this stove is, but I'm guessing 1940s, maybe 50s. It's an old stove. I hope you got some good, useful information out of this video. I'm going to go to oldcolemanparts.com and I'm going to order a new 500 cap seal. But this thing is fantastic. It's in perfect working order. So with all that being said, folks, again, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you have a beautiful day. We'll see you next time. Bye for now. I'm really happy right now. I love these old stoves. They were just fantastic. This is when they used to build them really nice. You know, the Brunson is really heavy duty and just a beautiful, beautiful stove. We'll see you later. Bye for now.